Alright, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to Really Good Soup. And we're finally back. We got a new chapter after a week break, and I'm excited, ready to get right into it. But really quick, if you guys have been enjoying these chapter reviews, or if you guys like the reactions that I do on this channel, please throw me a like, or a subscribe, or a share, possibly, because I could talk about One Piece forever, man. But yeah, let's get right into it. Alright, so we got a color spread this week, which I thought this was a really fun one. Like everybody getting like little plush dolls from the little crane machine from all their favorites. So like Luffy's got like Shank, Sabo, Garp, Ace, Rayleigh, Whitebeard. But he's got a bunch. Nami's got a bunch of people from her village. Sanji's got just every woman that he's simped over in the series. Zoro has like a little Mihawk and a Shirahoshi, which is cute. Poor little Hancock also just like even like the doll version of Hancock still getting curbed by Luffy. And yeah, we got like Brook and Chopper. Like I guess Brook is the crane, which is fun, and Chopper's like they got like a little Chopper doll, but they left the actual Chopper in, which that's a classic Straw Hat thing to do. But yeah, it's a pretty fun color spread. And it was like came a little message. What we hold in our hearts is ours forever, which yeah, that's sweet. But yeah, let's get back into the God Valley now. Well, actually, no. Before God Valley, we have episode 733 of the Yamato story. But I'm assuming we're getting now close to the end of it now because she's made her pilgrimage. And we see like the fallen heroes being attributed over here. Got Odin. We got pretty much all the people that have either fell in this battle against Kaido and Big Mom, or like people that I guess were taken out like before the raid on Onigashima. But yeah, it's pretty cool to see. And yeah, we got Yamato, Kinemon, and Momo there. So we start back at God Valley, obviously. As the narrator says, many figures converge on the island bearing their individual goals and desires, and it turned God Valley into an inescapable battlefield of nightmares. Which, like, yeah, we got the Rocks Pirates, we got God's Knights, we got Garp. Like, it's just full of, like, all the legends and all the monsters, And in the chaos, we see, look, like, we have, like, the Marines, trying to evacuate all the celestial dragons, and one of them is just like complains like, yo, I wanted one of these prizes. Even though this Marine, he does his due diligence to be like, oh, don't worry, I got you, I'll get that prize for you, I'll take responsibility. Like in true celestial dragon fashion, they're just like, responsible dog, you're gonna take responsibility for all of this shit. Like you're most likely gonna get executed after this. That's what you get for serving celestial dragons. But we see obviously people getting like caught up in the chaos. They're getting distracted. They're thinking, oh, maybe it's our chance to escape. And meanwhile, we got a little glimpse of the three big legends. We got Roger, dead focused on Shaki. We got Rocks, dead focused on his wife Eris, which I guess that's first time we're hearing her name, Eris, which it honestly reminds me of the Billy and Mandy character, the goddess of discord, right? And he's obviously worried about Eris and Teach, trying to like look for them. And then we got Garp, who's dead set on finding Roger. But then after that, we cut over to Dragon. He's still trying to make his way with Shanks and Shamrock, only to be stopped by one of the newer introduced God's Knights, which we also got a name for. We got from the Satchel's family, Saint Mafi. Mafi, I don't know how to, I'm just going to say Mafi. And like, she looks pretty menacing. Like, I originally thought that this could be like Killingham, possible, like, related person, but I guess she's not of the Rimashifu family. So she might not be related to Killingham, as far as we know. But yeah, unfortunately, we see Dragon got just pierced through the shoulder by what looked like her just firing a laser beam out of her mouth. So I'm sure that's probably more related to what her devil fruit power is versus like the power that Emu gave them, like the immortality and the regen and all that. But what's interesting about this like interaction is that she takes out Dragon, she sees a baby drop, and she somehow does not see the other baby drop. So she only assumes that, oh, Garling must have one kid and I found him. And because Garling's not there to corroborate, and it's only whoever is on the freaking snail phone, uh, they're just like, oh, thank goodness you found Garling's kid. Clearly, he must have only the one kid, right? She seems satisfied with it. Well, she seems kind of like, bewildered that, damn, of all the people, Garling had a kid. But like that aside, this was one of my favorite moments of the chapter because we see, the internal struggle of Dragon finally come to a head, and he has basically accepted his complicity and his role, basically how everything is about to go down right now. And he was really hoping that he was going to be able to atone somewhat for just like taking place in this like sick twisted murder game, and after losing the kids, he's like, you know what, fucking maybe I deserve this, which is like so much more than any other Marine or like government official in the series could possibly say, except maybe for what's his name? Well, I guess we have Saul, who is like pretty defiant on O'Hara, and we also have Don Quixote Moscard, who like kind of grew a spine. Well, actually, not kind of grew a spine. He stood up for Queen Otohime and stood up for Shirahoshi before like she was like trying to get kidnapped. But yeah, like it's very cool to see like a young Marine like still in the ranks questioning like, yo, why the fuck are we doing this? We're definitely not like protecting anybody right now. We're literally just serving the celestial dragons. And we see Dragon, he's about to get GG'd. The God's Knight, Saint Mafi, she pulls out her sword. She's about to stab him. Just like, all right, you did well, young man, but this is as far as you go. And right then, we get what, I mean, I'm sure this is going to look much, much cooler in the anime, which, like, Toei, I'm really hoping that you really gas this chapter up when the anime drops, because we see the trees and Saint Mafi get sliced in half. She's wondering, what the fuck? And we find out it's freaking Whitebeard that did it. And what's interesting, too, is, like, I don't think it was just, like, it clearly wasn't Whitebeard's devil fruit. It was just straight up Whitebeard's, just a swing of his weapon was able to slice all of those. So, I mean, Whitebeard, a little bit of an upscale, like he had that kind of swordsmanship, on full display. And what's interesting too is like we get like a little interaction with like him, Big Mom, and a little bit later Shiki being like, "Yo, Whitebeard, what the dick? Were you trying to actually shoot for us? Like, did you want us to kill you right here?" So I thought that was kind of funny. But like, what's also kind of amusing is like this Dragon. He's seeing these two future Yonkos, and they're obviously bigger than the average person. And so like his first thought is like, "Whoa, pirates! Whoa, gigantic fucking pirates!" He was probably only really expecting to deal with at worst the God's Knights, but now he's got to deal with the freaking Rocks pirates right now. And the Roger pirates. But, fortunately for Dragon, he doesn't have to deal with the Rocks pirates because a couple other pirates, they try to pull up on them and it's like, whoa, if we take down the Rocks pirates, we'll be famous. How hard could it be? And we see a glorious shot of freaking Kaido, Whitebeard, Big Mom, and Shiki all just like going all out on these pirates. And I'm sure this panel, like this whole sequence, is gonna be freaking incredible when it's like animated, because like it's really just Big Mom with her powers right now. I think pretty much everybody else here is just using straight up brute force. So that would be definitely cool to see. And like, obviously Dragon, he's seeing this opportunity as like, damn, now's my chance to escape. And luckily for him, he also happens to notice a little knocked out Shanks that somehow Saint Mafi did not even notice. So now we see how Shanks ended up with Dragon, or at least how he's gonna end up in that little treasure chest, and we see how Shamrock ended up back with Garling. And continuing into all this chaos, we see the boy Garp pull up and he has like such a fun little like spin on all of this. Like for him, he's going fishing, man. He claims to find himself a fun little fishing spot, and he senses a big catch up ahead, which I thought just like it's kind of funny that he's comparing this whole thing to just like going out fishing. For what we see, he also compares them to sea kings. So like this is just like a regular Tuesday for Garp, because what do we see next? He launches what looks like a little tiny like galaxy impact, and it sends Whitebeard running, it sends Big Mom running, it sends Kaido running. Like they don't want to scrap with Garp at all. Well, at least Kaido kind of wants to scrap with Garp, but Big Mom kind of knows better. Like Kaido, like, you're not ready for Roger, you're not ready for Garp. Let's just stick with me right now, please. True to her like instinct. As soon as like Kaido decides to find whatever, Big Mom, she decides to launch an attack on Garp because maybe she'll handle her. Kaido, you're not ready for this yet. I got this. And so what does she do? She takes out Zeus, pre-Nami, pre-Wano Zeus. She takes out Prometheus, and she launches a named attack. We got, Heavenly Fire Blitz. I'm sure that's also going to look amazing in the anime. And, I would call attention to, Garp's reaction to that, which, what was it? He said, you call that fire, Linlin? This isn't even hot enough to cook a prime rib. Like, which, that's just hilarious. So, like, it's going to be fun to see Garp, especially with his little, like, demon face in this panel in the anime, just brushing off Big Mom's attack. But, more importantly, we have, if we take a look, when Big Mom launches the attack, we got our boy BOGARD. That's right, it was a BOGARD upscale the whole time. God Valley just continues to become a BOGARD upscale. So I'm telling you right now, in God Valley, we're going to finally get just at least a little name placard for BOGARD, because my man deserves his flowers finally. So BOGARD upscale. That's all I'm saying. But moving on, we see a little shot of Ivankov and Kuma seeing like the chaos ensue and using it as their chance to escape, which, again, fun to see. Like fun to keep referencing back to like, yeah, Kuma and Ivankov, they are seeing a lot of this unfold. Moving on, we see Garp like just shrug off Big Mom's attack. She's clearly stressed because like, dog, she just gave it her all, and Garp's just not even sweating. But then, we cut back to the Gods, Knights, and Dragon. We see Saint Mafia, both assume that that's the only kid that Garling has, and assume that, the pirates took out Dragon. So Dragon had a pretty nice little cover right there. So if you really think about it, Shanks is really alive because of Whitebeard and Dragon and Big Mom, kind of. So, yeah, shout out to Whitebeard and Big Mom. Well, I guess it was really more Whitebeard, because Whitebeard's the one that actually launched the attack. But Big Mom did help ensue a little bit of confusion into the mix. And then moving on in the chapter, we see, the other member of the Man-Mayer family notice that a bunch of people are trying to use the chaos as a means for escaping. And she's like, nope, that's not going to fly. And in true Celestial Dragon fashion, decides to execute them. And we cut to like Marine basically giving a report on where the Rocks pirates are and where the Roger pirates are in relation to the Celestial Dragons. And I'm just gonna say, whenever we see Oda drop a map, that's basically a good indicator that we're gonna be in we're gonna be in whatever location we're talking about for a little bit. So I'm happy to hear that, because I can't get enough of God Valley right now, man. I said it once, I'll say it again. Like, this needs to become a movie. Like, I'm so fine if One Piece just stops doing like the filler movies with like the filler antagonists and stuff, and just straight up animate like the Payback War or Aokiji versus Akainu or God Valley. Like I would give so much money for that. Are you kidding me? But anyway, So then, we cut to the pirates about to meet up, and we got a little panel of a few of the Rocks Pirates members, including Gloriosa, Shiki, Silver Axe, and what's pretty interesting is we see Captain John with what looks like a metal arm, and it's interesting because one, yeah, that's probably Eustace Kid's old devil fruit or current devil fruit. He was the previous user of it, and it's interesting because Eustace Kid and Captain John, well, they have the same epithet. Captain or John goes by Captain, and Eustace Kid also goes by Captain. So I don't know. Maybe there's like some sort of familiarity there. Maybe there's some sort of like idol worshiping thing. We'll see. We next come to one of like the more brutal parts of the chapters is Summers. He's going to go check on Shocky, and what's like cool is that Shocky was able to take out basically all of the guards that were supposed to be like watching her while she's been shackled up, and we see like she has used some of a Hancock's fighting style before, and she tries to use it again on Summers, especially after Summers says like a pretty, we'll say, Republican thing, saying that I hate a woman that knows her worth. You're better when you're naive, which, I mean, come on. Uh, and, he starts smacking the shit out of her. He starts, like, actually beating her with his club. And, in typical Summers fashion, in typical Celestial Dragons fashion, he's savoring every moment of her despair. And we're thinking, damn, what is about to happen to Shocky? I mean, obviously, us as the fans know, but like, how much of this is Shocky about to take before our boy Rayleigh finally stops in? And before Rayleigh stops in, we see the Rocks Pirates and the Roger Pirates just like they're struggling against each other because they're trying to get to Shocky first. And even we have a clash with Roger and Whitebeard, which like for them, it's just like, that's just like a pretty casual like battle clash. Like they're both not interested in like actually scrapping each other right now. They're more interested in trying to find Shocky. These are two titans, that decided to do an advanced conquerors hockey clash, and obviously it like knocks out a couple people around them. It blows away a bunch of other people around them, and it really doesn't do anything for them. Just like trying to figure out where Shocky is. And yeah, we see after all those other pirates get blown away, we like cut to Shiki. He's like, "Oh, dog, I hope Shocky was okay after that freaking clash." And we see a bunch of the Rocks pirate members, including Silver Axe, start to make their way to Shocky. And Roger's just like, "Oh, dude, we can't let any of them get to Shocky. Fuck it, Rayleigh, do your thing." And Rayleigh, oh my god, does he do his thing? As Summer keeps like chastising Shocky and like keeps like berating her for existing, we see that little like creepy like shot of Summers as she sees, or as Summers sees like the last like glint of hope from Shocky leave her eyes. He's like obviously turned on by it because obviously they're Republicans, and we see my boy Rayleigh spring into action with before he springs into action, he launches a cold line where he's like, "I'll put the flowers on your grave to send you off," and that has Summers fucking sweating. And then we see, I think our first named attack from Rayleigh, Spider Lily Steel, which it seems like it seems actually kind of very similar to like a Rock's kind of swordsman move, where like he sends out the slash, and I assume the slash itself like just rockets Summers away because we see like a little hole in the wall that's shaped like Summers. And then we get a little bit of a cute romantic exchange with Rayleigh and Shocky. And I remember I saw a tweet being like, "Who said that Oda doesn't know how to write romance? Because this is romance right here. My boy, like, finally getting with Shocky, much to the chagrin of Scopper and Roger at the end." Which that's also just a hilarious little panel. It's like, dog, can y'all please do this later? We're hurting enough right now. But yeah, they claim that Shocky has been saved, and so now it's time to get some treasure and book it. So yeah, I really enjoy this chapter. Obviously I enjoy every chapter, but I would have to give this one probably a 12 out of 10. Like, not as action packed as I was like hoping for, but obviously we see, Garp get into action. We see the BOGARD upscale. We see, the Rayleigh and Shockey like storyline basically starting, and we also get a little bit more glimpses of Dragon being an absolute goat, having the absolute correct like moral position in this whole thing. And yeah, I'm excited to see where it goes. Hopefully, we don't have a break next week. It doesn't look like we do. So yeah, I'm excited. But let's look at a couple tweets that I found to be pretty enjoyable. So first one we got from our boy Toadgashi. Shout out to Toadgashi. Always being able to like pretty quickly pull out a sketch that perfectly encapsulates whatever agenda piece is, whatever is fully exemplifying agenda piece in the current chapter. And right now we got freaking Garp, the demon time Garp, just like absolutely making the other future Yonkos just shake in their boots. Like, we got Big Mom like thinking that was her biggest attack. We have Kaido thinking that he could scrap with Garp even though he can't even take on Roger yet. And Whitebeard just like, I think I'm gonna go fight Roger instead. So shout out to Togashi, love it. And the Garp slander has for sure been getting stronger and stronger, because we got another tweet here saying that Garp was basically he ignored his injured and traumatized son and walked all over the bodies of innocent families murdered by the celestial dragons just to aura farm and fight some pirates. Because, I mean, where's the lie? Because that's basically exactly what he did. He freaking walked away, like, over his son. Yeah, no, the Garp slander is strong now. I'm waiting for it to be disproven, but it is strong right now. And we just got that one shot of Summer sweating when Rayleigh pulls up, and the guys basically the joke was just the Holy Knights, when their opponents aren't slaves, women, and children, which I'll just say how very relevant, and leave it at that. But yeah, I freaking love this chapter. I'm excited to see Toei animate it, because you already know, like, when those rocks pirates start like swinging their weapons, and when Garp starts doing his freaking thing, you know that Toei is just gonna gas that up. So I'm pretty excited to see where that or how that ends up looking. But yeah, until next time.